Welcome, everybody, to the year 2026. Mother, Father, God, all that is. We thank you. We thank you for joining us together in this community, joining us together in the human race, joining our voices, joining our thoughts, joining our beliefs, joining our intentions. We acknowledge that your presence here today is to hear our intentions, to give us a sample of the energies of 2026, and to answer those intentions in the highest and best interests of all of us, our loved ones, the planet, and all the universe. So we're being welcomed, and we know that our intentions, when they are given, are answered. So we're being welcomed by Angel Jophiel. Thank you. I've been working with Angel Jophiel since I was a kid, probably, and she's revealed herself over the years. Angel Jophiel is the angel of illumination. So if you get insight now or the next day or even a couple days later, that's the Angel Jophiel tickling some of the areas of your life that are ready to be seen, ready to have a light shine on them. So the Angel Jophiel is kind of flapping her wings. So yeah, things are different in 2026. I can kind of visualize her. She's got these giant wings. They're really soft and lustrous and effervescent. You know, they're almost like shining and light, but you can see through them. Angel Jophiel often gives us gifts at the end of the session. So we welcome her as she welcomes us right back. Great Cosmic Mother is the definitive God goddess. She is actually genderless, but she's presenting herself to us as feminine because there's such a feminine imbalance in the world today, working directly with Source. And Source, during a time period before modern history, pre-human history, was the great Cosmic Mother. She was the goddess. She was the source of all creation manifesting into form. So we're being welcomed by her, and a giant human hug. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then we want to physicalize this divinity in our bodies. So what we're going to do is chant the sound of Om 3 times. And Om is the sound of the divine. It massages the spinal cord, the nervous system, at the same time allowing divinity to enter our physical form. So do it with me. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in, and on the out breath, chanting the sound of Om. First breath in. Second breath in. And the third breath in. Beautiful. I always love the sense of stillness that bubbles up when we chant the sound of the divine. And so again, in this sacred space of gathering, this portal on the other side of time and space, where we're accessing 0 point energy, the focal point in time, where the interface of the unified field meets each one of us. Our past, present, and future self is here. We state our intentions. Know that they are heard and answered. So take a moment. Say out loud, what is your wish for 2026? What is your wish for your life? And I'm going to add this and something better. And so it is. Beautiful. I know what some of you asked for must have been so wonderful, because you can almost feel their glowing light within the group field. So I'm going to take a moment to listen, to see where Source wants to lead us. So there's a bubbling sadness coming up. This is within the human collective. And as I listen closer, it's turning more into loss. Loss of humanity. As evidenced by cruelty. We're seeing more and more cruelty happening. You know, those of you who are talking about, I don't visit social media anymore. I don't turn on the news. Why? Because first of all, news glorifies crime, glorifies murder, glorifies things that we fear. It's a proven formula. But there's more of it every day. And so this is in this human collective that we spend time talking about previous to this group healing. And if human cruelty is in the collective, it's within you. Because you're a part of the collective. You can't separate yourself. You can't say, I'm different from that, because you're a human. You have a past, you have a present, you have a future. We try and stay in the present. When we're in the present, we're balanced. We're in the here and now. We're not focused and being pulled back into the past. We're not being projected into the future. But that doesn't mean those things still don't exist. And the human collective exists around us. Like we're swimming in the same soup. And to pretend it's not there is a form of avoidance. It's the form of not wanting to be in that part of the human body that says human collective is suffering now. But if we've done our work, we can detach from what's going on out there, and we can find the place of human suffering and be with it. And when we're as metaphysicians, when we understand the quantum nature, we understand that everything is a frequency, and where the emotions of that frequency are just another feature and function, then we allow it to flow through us and not repress it, oppress it, deny it, avoid it. We can look upon it like a witness, but we need to also engage with it. But when we engage with it from a place of sacred presence, something like human cruelty, doesn't attach in the way that it used to. It flows through. And we also talked about the morphic field, that what we're doing in these groups, like when we address something like human cruelty, like we're going to do here tonight, it filters up into the human, or into the morphic field of resonance that Rupert Sheldrake studied and talks about and explains in great detail. That's accessible to everyone. And this human cruelty, we've all experienced some form of it, and we want to go into our memory of this lifetime, and I'm sure you will find times in childhood, oh heck, maybe last week, maybe someone was really indifferent or made a casual remark that hurt your feelings. human cruelty is in your field, but it's also in your collective consciousness. When you stretch back into your past history, you'll find human cruelty. When you stretch back into your ancestral history, you'll find human cruelty. How do we know this? Look at planet's history of war, conquering, colonialism, genocide. Turn on the news. So when we bring it in to these sacred groups, we can process it through together, where your experience will be filtered and dissolved with your neighbor's experience, and go all the way back through your ancestry, go all the way back to your past lives. And because we are served by the goddess, by the great cosmic mother, by thousands of goddesses, by source itself. Source is what every deity, the spiritual expression, pulls from. It's a great mystery. We can soften, lessen, what we call transform, transmute, transfigure, part of the human cruelty in our greater field. Within you, personally, definitely, and that will create much more lightness, much more space, much more freedom within your physical form. It's also going to create it within the collective form. And the way you experience human cruelty from tonight on will be much easier. You won't have to jump over it or avoid it or pretend it's not happening. You can look at it and experience it and know it's not going to harm you, but you can't deny that it isn't happening anymore. That's what grounding into your human body, into the earth means. You can't jump over what's happening now and still be called a light worker. Still be called an energy worker. Oh, someone's expression is, oh, throat chakra. My body acts as a conduit. So what's going on in the group field, my body acts as a, so someone's throat is being cleared. There we go. And we so often right now, with flooding the zone of all this human cruelty, we want to turn it off and just stay in the flow of our spiritual bubbles. That's bypassing. But what we gain, the wisdom we gain, the resilience we gain, the courage we gain, the bravery we gain, the compassion we gain when we sit with human cruelty is its own reward. So that being said, we're going to just sit back. And allow source, because that was pretty, raw. When you hear me talking and going what seemingly on a tangent, it's because source is working at a place in the space that may be really uncomfortable for you. That's why a lot of people typically fall asleep or they go into what's called a trance state. Trance state is very matriarchal, traditional, ancient, shamanic, indigenous cultures, goddess circles, goddess collectives work with trance as a form of getting into the fluidity of the energy. Because human cruelty is constricted, it's dense, it's heavy, it's intense emotionally. You know, like heavy metal music is denser notes and shorter waves, whereas when you're listening to something angelic, musically, it's lighter, it's flowing, it's more harmonious to your system. So human cruelty is dense and constricted and contracted and heavy. And these trance-like states allow the energy to soften and open up and move. So you may fall asleep during this session. And that may be on purpose. But if you're awake and you can get your awareness into it, it teaches you not to fear the emotion, to not jump over it, to not bypass it. And when you do, when you can sit with human cruelty, you become a conduit for change. You can process it, you can look at it, you can be with it, you can allow it to flow through you. You don't deny it, you don't repress it, you don't oppress it. Because women have been taught emotions are wrong. What do you hear when you're a kid? Be quiet. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to see you. Go sit in a corner. Even as an adult, as a female, have you tried speaking up? Or you're shushed, or called hysterical, or too emotional, or all these oppressive social conditionings don't honor our intuitive states, our incredibly powerful state of compassionately being with emotion, to process it, to transmute it, to transform it. What I did in many, many past lives is exactly what we're doing now, as a conduit for processing. So we've tapped into the issue of human cruelty. And I'm going to put what's called structures. What are structures? When you realize you're dimensional, and that you are part of this greater interface of relationships within a universal construct, right? Then it is vast, it is wide, it is complex. And so structures are following our intention to transform and transmute human cruelty. And it pinpoints it like GPS points on a map. Hey, source, go here and here and here and here and here. And as we start dropping these pinpoints in the map, I can feel where this human cruelty is really wide and expansive. I can't believe Source picked this subject for today, because it's pretty big. Like if we were in a group, I would expect to explore human cruelty all month long in different aspects of it. But here we are today. So I am guessing that this is going to be a really big, deep, wide, expansive all-encompassing clearing of human cruelty. Because you showed up. Because you chose to listen to this on a replay. Because you said, I've witnessed this out there and it is enough. I am done and I'm not going to avoid it anymore. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist. We worked on this a couple weeks ago. In fact, it was winter solstice, because it was the darkest night of the year. And the message from winter solstice, which again, I opened up to everyone, it's on the YouTube channel. If you got the email, it was in the email. It pointed to darkness and said, what are your thoughts? As kids, we were taught darkness was evil, was bad, and people pretend, oh, I'm not dark, I don't hold evil, I don't hold cruelty, I don't. Well, of course you do, you're human, you hold all of it. We can't leap over and pretend we're just spirit when we're sitting in a human body and we're living on a human karmic planet. That is stinking thinking. That is the circus. We can both be a part of the circus and not of it simultaneously. In the universal law of polarity, it's both and. Two things can be true. And when we realize both and, we actually bring them into the whole. We see them as not separate from each other. And that is strength. So we can look at human cruelty, we can be our spiritual self, we can take our higher frequencies and we can point it at human cruelty and allow the two to merge. But if we skip over it, if we pretend it isn't happening, if we put our blinders on, if we do the monkey see, where we cover our ears and eyes and mouths, and it still exists. That's how it's cycling. It keeps the cycle going. But as metaphysical females coming into our power, we have transformative strengths. We have transmutation powers. We have transfiguration. We all have our different abilities to meet this. Interference, this illusion, this construct, what I call separation consciousness. Why? Because oneness is wholeness. It's unity. It recognizes it's a singular part of the whole. The separation of human cruelty says, I am human cruelty, and then we'll give you all these stories of what human cruelty is, and it'll elicit all these emotional feelings. Probably if you're really true and you're awake and you're aware and you tap into it, you're going to go into the loss, you're going to go into the disgust, you're going to go into the rawness, the unfairness, the injustice, the tears, the screams. And allow it to wash through you. You're the fire horse. That's what it is. What do you think fire does? It cleanses. It comes through this dense forest and says, crackle, 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 pop, pop, pop. I'm going to clear out. I'm going to burn it down. And in the ash is the nutrition you need to grow new things. Because, hey, you forest, you were too dense to allow anything but the biggest things to grow. And that is our world right now. We have these big patriarchal issues that are dominating the world. We have classism, elitism, who are rolling over the marginalized, rolling over the impoverished, rolling over the people who are different. They're forgetting we're all one. We're all part of one big human race. Beautiful view from space. One of the astronauts completely shift his perspective when he looked, and he didn't see separate countries. He saw one big beautiful world, flowing with land, flowing with water, all covered by clouds, living alive, but not harmonious. Why aren't we harmonious? Our separation consciousness. I'm from this country. I have this ideology. My ideology is better than your ideology. Let's fight over it. Oh, hey, I want your land. Oh, hey, I want to profit off of your inexperience or your needs, and so on and so forth. So we're in the topic of human cruelty, transforming it from the level of collective. And it is, of course, a patriarchal issue. Because if we are in balance, it doesn't mean cruelty happens. It means when you're in balance, there's a book called Oneness written by a channel called Rasha. And she describes oneness as a world of transparency. Human cruelty would happen, and it ripples out through the vital web of life. So everybody knows it's happening, and then it gets addressed. Because everybody knows about it. That was a long time ago. And patriarchy slowly evolved over 500-700 years and started asserting its qualities. And it became more and more popular because, oh, look, I can get things. I can have more power. I can have more strength. I can own concepts. I can have people serve me, and so on and so forth. And then it got threatened. It got threatened by women's strength. It got threatened by the processes that can't be controlled. Our intuition. When you are in a place of living in harmony with the greater unified field, with this essence, this presence that is infinite, that is eternal, no human concept can control you because you're getting your knowledge from the great source. So of course that had to be stomped out, that had to be erased, that had to be oppressed, had to be killed, had to be persecuted. People had to fear it, they had to demonize it. And so these are the kinds of things that erupted as human cruelty, pointed directly at some of the matriarchal processes that got in the way of patriarchal domination and colonialism and religion, where they called this male god up in the sky and we learned to fear him. These all exist in the human collective, and they're starting to break down, and we can go into them collectively to illuminate, sit with it, allow it to bubble up, allow the divine within us to gather within us, within this group, soften, to dissolve, to clear, to release, transform. And as we transform human cruelty, it becomes less of a cyclical nature. It's not going to automatically go away. No, again, this is a really big pattern. Every time. We're learning right now. If you are awake, you are aware, and I strongly suggest to go back and listen to it. You're going to, if you sit with it and allow it to yourself to be present, it's going to bring you wisdom of your own resilience, your own courage, your own ability not to be pulled into its story, not to be attached to its emotion, but to sit with an emotion, the means of processing it. It's like having a tooth pulled. You know you have to get this work done, because if you don't, the bacteria will kill you, or the infection will kill you, or the the bad tooth will kill you. So you go to the dentist and you have dental work done, and it's painful. But on the other side, you have a strong, clear mouth again. That may have been kind of a poor analogy, but you get what I mean. Transformation is messy. It's painful. It can get dark, but what it teaches us is that we don't have to be afraid of the dark. As women transformers, that's where we find our power. We dive into the dark and we see how we can work with it. We can channel our anger as fuel, our compassion as understanding. First and foremost, our self-compassion. When I work with people who one-on-one in groups, if this is triggering you, ultimately what you're really fearing, because you've had many lives, is not just the human cruelty you experience as a victim. It's the human cruelty you inflicted on others in past lives. Now this is a game changer. When you can sit with the guilt and shame of being a perpetrator, you have just mastered a transformational technique that is hard won. Because every part of you wants to deny that you're dark. Every part of you wants to deny that you've had a human existence that did bad things. And that's why they're still cycling through. The absolute superpower of women's awareness is to look at human cruelty that hits someone's throat chakra really deeply. So here I'm going to advise you to either scream, take a pillow and scream into it, cry, get it out, because there's some part of your throat that swallowed your guilt, swallowed your shame. And we, I'm sure, have there's more bubbling up. All have had instances in this lifetime where we spoke cruel words and we swallowed our forgiveness. We've swallowed our shame and guilt at doing such, because we're all human. We say that we're just human. But in a transformational state of balance, we address it. We look at it. We're not shamed by it. We just meet the shame. We meet the guilt as just another energy passing through, like a storm. I live in the northwest Wisconsin, where storms happen all the time. And we, with radar, thank goodness, we know they're coming. We even know the length of them because we can see the radar. So when you know there's a transformational motion arising, you know it's going to have a beginning, middle, and an end. And so you can sit with it and know there's going to be a time when it's going to pass through. So guilt and shame teaches you resilience, teaches you courage, teaches you bravery, teaches you that your emotions do not rule you. That superpower is what we need more of. We need transformers to look at guilt, look at shame within themselves, and say, yes, that happened. And as we do that, it grants permission for others to do that themselves. This is a lost matriarchal art of the greatest sages, greatest wisdom keepers, to go into themselves, say, yes, I've been a perpetrator in a past life. Where is that human cruelty? Let me speak it, let me live it, let me see it, let me feel it, let me cough it out, let me scream it out, let me cry it out. Let me breathe it out. Let me dance it out. Because that shame, that guilt, is the cause of a lot of feminine issues. There's flip sides of every coin. We can't have all been victims. We've been perpetrators because we've had many, many human lives. And if you are a great light worker, if you are a great metaphysician, you chose a very troubled life because you know at this juncture you are going to have access to tremendous amounts of capabilities and abilities to cleanse it through. And you do. Here you are. This is a way to access the light, access the divine, and wash through guilt and shame, wash through human cruelty, meet it, address it, and gain its wisdom. So we're going to go into something called collective unconscious timeline. These are, remember, our multidimensional energy fields are very complex. So these are some of the hidden aspects of your dimensionality that you, well, I could name what they are, but you just don't know about. So instead, I just call it collective unconscious timelines. These are the timelines that hold your guilt, hold your shame, and time streams and choice points. Yep, there it is. There's righteousness. These are the righteous lives that probably said, yeah, I had to. Because if you were a warlord back then, or if you were in an army, you had to follow along and do these things, or you were killed yourself. We all did it. And facing it is a part of the transformational act of transmutation, clearing of release. There you go. Wow. So what I will say about 2026 energy, it is spot on powerful. I would have never thought we would have addressed this topic in this free healing. Things are moving fast, efficiently, effectively. So we're going to go into something called collective conscious conditioning. These are some of the things you probably identify with as I pass through. Things like how you remember in memories of positions and roles you played where you were cruel to others or others were cruel to you. And so we're going to be clearing them again by doing some Shakti breathing. Both of these had ties all the way from thousands of years ago that go right to present, like they're being eradicated right now. Human cruelty is arising so we can see it, so we can be offended by it, so we can put a stop to it, so we can speak out against it, so we can protest, so we can march, so we can call our legislators, so we can change our legislation because they're allowing it, so we can look at it square in the eye saying, this is not who we are. And if our voices aren't strong enough, we have to change that too. There we go. Now clearing anything else. Someone's wondering, what does this have to do with the intention you set? I don't know. Maybe your intentions were for more peace, more harmony. If that's the case, this at your root, the foundation we're all standing on, the collective consciousness we're all a part of in the soup called life, the divine web of life, that is a detractor from whatever it is that you asked for. So again, remember, your intention may not be answered in the way that you thought. Here we go. Okay. So now we're going to move into something called universal timelines. Universal timelines recognizes that, again, remember, our past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. They're all here in this field of pure possibility. So what Source is going to do is bring in a future version of you that has already cleared this pattern, this issue, this social construct called human cruelty, and you've transformed everything related to it and gained all its wisdom. So it's coming in as an overlay, as a blueprint. Doesn't mean that it's all going to be gone. It means as you work through it in experiences and reframing things, and again, wisdom, compassion, understanding, this overlay is going to act like a blueprint. So again, you're going to hear me breathing. And the evolutionary blueprint, why is it called an evolutionary? Because you're going to evolve into this blueprint. Again, it's a pathway. It is an overlay. It is a map. this map the final destination for you? I'm trying to find the right words for it. It's a form of clarity. I'm going to call it compassionate clarity for the lack of a better there's an element of freedom. So when you are stuck in human cruelty, it keeps you in the lane of the density, the constriction of of the emotions, and you're tied and attached and you're triggered, and so when that is gone, there's an element of freedom. Again, let me sit with this for a second. Well, I'm just going to bring it in and let you experience it. It's definitely an awareness expansion, level of consciousness that experience itself is more free, having more clarity, having more self-assuredness, because human cruelty, again, really affects your self-esteem, because you see life in humans as something to mistrust, something to be afraid of. And so a form of self-assuredness comes in as a stability. So it's like stabilizing freedom. And again, it's a realization, it's a shift in awareness, it's a state of consciousness that you're being pointed to as we got the ball rolling for human cruelty to dissolve, to transmute, to transform. And we did a huge cleansing of that. Fire energy coming in. I know that a fire horse isn't quite here yet, but of course it is, because we can access Phoenix fire. We can access anything we want in the field of pure possibility, because there isn't any human construct. Even the aspect of time is a human construct. The Gregorian calendar happened to pick these arbitrary dates, but they were going by seasons, light and dark, sun setting, sun rising, and categorizing it with structure. Beautiful. So now we're going to allow this sense of stabilizing freedom to come in as a form of integration. What is integration? When you recognize you are part of this greater field of unified relationship, where you are a part of everything, including the planet, humanity, the soil, the center of the earth, the stars, the cosmic brothers and sisters, and everything is a part of you. If you change one thing, it affects everything. Because remember, that spider web, you make one move in that spider web, it vibrates everywhere. So integration says we just adjusted. In fact, we made big changes. Well, not in the scheme of things, but we made some definite adjustments. So your life before this was puzzle pieces. So we took some out, we made some smaller, we shifted this over here and moved that. And so integration is about putting all your puzzle pieces back together. So we're integrating your entire system and all of consciousness, including your brain, different areas of your brain, like your amygdala, that is really triggered by survival fear, like human cruelty, integrating your nervous system, your whole spinal cord and energetic spine, vagus nerve, which is a distribution factory or distribution by receiving and sensing, distributing emotional, physiological responses. into your biochemistry, neural pathways. Beautiful. Integrating your energy bodies, integrating your chakras, integrating your pathways and organs. Going back to the throat chakra for some of you, the thyroid. Integrating the stomach, digestive system, the lungs, the heart, the kidneys, the liver. Integrating your genetics. Integrating your cellular consciousness, your cellular function. Well, thank you. Integrating your fascia. Your fascia is a multi-dimensional distribution energetic that is coming into a more crystalline form as our bodies shift from organic into more crystalline, sacred geometry, so that we can become more tuners and receivers. Some of you who are really living in the flow of life, it's because your bodies are slowly adjusting, becoming tuners and receivers, and so you're sensing energy around you much more efficiently because we're clearing out the density that said, oh, that doesn't exist, or you can't access that because these patterns that we're sitting on, again, we're all sitting on top of these foundational patriarchal patterns that are clogging up our energy systems, and they're not just sitting on the foundation anymore, they're in our faces, so we're being sandwiched by them. They're out in the collective consciousness of human consciousness. They're collapsing, exploding in our eyes. We're trying to avoid them, but we're also standing on top of them as layers of interference from our past lives, from our ancestral lives, from our times when we were humans, adjusting to shifts of this patriarchal force coming into being. Of our lives as patriarchal lords, where we contributed to the pain of others. All of this being addressed, being exposed, being washed through the light. Beautiful. Going into the life field now in what's called your intelligence system. Ooh, the density in the genetics was pretty heavy. Feel that lightening up. Going into your karmic body. It's called your luminous egg. This is your dimensional scaffolding. Again, all of consciousness, your entire energy system. I don't know if you notice the shift. It's like when you work on these patterns, it's like silt on the bottom of a cup. or coffee grounds. So you drink coffee, but the coffee grounds are heavy, so they fall to the bottom. You don't even know they're there until you get to the very last sip, right? You're like, ugh. We don't even know that this patriarchal human cruelty we were carrying as genetic patterns, as incarnational patterns, as human collective consciousness around us. The lightness in your system is beautiful, brilliant. So I'm going to, before we build its coherence, I'm going to bring in something called Evi therapy. It's going to work on your psyche, your psychological body, your mental, emotional bodies, because they were ravaged by human cruelty. So acts like a dimensional therapist. There we go. You don't need much of it. Beautiful. And now for whatever remaining time we have, we're going to bring in what I call swan medicine. The swan is, we just moved from the ugly duckling to this beautiful swan, glorious white feathers, flying, floating, absolute epitome of beauty. And so we're going to bring in again the fullness of this stabilizing freedom. It's stabilizing freedom, it's grounded freedom, because the human cruelty was fractured, right? It was chaotic. And when we remove that chaos, what's left is this freedom to just be and stabilize and be self-assured and have clarity and creativity much more smoothly flowing. So we're going to build coherence. You might just feel a sense of brightness, of light, of effervescence. A form of embodiment. So if this were a regular session, and it's not, so you don't have any homework. If you wanted to pretend it did because these have value, there are questions for awareness. What is awareness? It's your superpower. Again, remember your awareness at 5 shifts because of your experience. And as you grow and evolve, you have a completely different awareness at 13, and then at 20s, and then now in your adulthood. But all that awareness is your human experience. Your superpower awareness is your dimensional experience, that you are a spirit in a human body, grounded in an awakening, alive planet, and all is one harmonious field. And so this field right now is vibrating, stabilizing freedom, helping your system remember. There's nowhere to transcend. Your system has an elevated sense of raising its vibration, but it's not anywhere you go. It's always existed. What you're doing is removing the clothing, the covering, the interference that prevented you from really realizing this always existed. Just not in this karmic density of humanity we call Earth. To me, Earth is a school of awakening, where we have levels of awareness, where we recognize our dimensional aspects of freedom to be. And everyone is in different stages of this awakening. Some will never awaken, and that's okay. They'll just die and be reborn into the light of something else on another planet, or come back again on the Earth planet if they so decide. We don't know. It's a great mystery. Anyone who pretends to know is guessing. Even some of the greatest psychics are pulling in information from what universe, what dimension, what reality. So this beautiful presence of stabilizing freedom is reminding you who you are. Grounded, free to be. And this free to be is asking you questions. What does human cruelty mean to you? Go back in your memory. Maybe there's some unresolved experience you had in this lifetime. Wonderful. They're going to probably bubble up and give you a chance to reframe them, give you a chance to live through them, give you a chance to sit with the shame or the guilt if you were the perpetrator, to sit with the victimhood if you were on the receiving end, or to look the human cruelty happening on the screens around us and be with it with a sense of compassion. That is my brother, that is my sister, that person doing the cruelty is also my brother and sister. None of this is separate from the me. Once we start separating out and saying you're bad, you're good, we continue the division. Oneness is everything is me, and I am everything. And that's how we cycle it through. We bring that emotion of cruelty within us, and we wash it, dissolve it, transform it, and show compassion for those who are still struggling with this process. There's no hierarchy here. Everyone is on the same playing field with different awareness levels of receiving, tuning, not receiving, not tuning. But we're all still single drops of the one big ocean. So the stabilizing freedom allows you to be with things like cruelty and understand that it is weather passing through, that is a necessary part of living in this changing, evolving, transforming earth that has experienced an upswell of rightfully deserved human cruelty because we've sat on it for years. When everything is connected, the earth is alive. Human karma is a law of cause and effect. The genocide in this country alone, the genocide that's happening around the world, the bombs, control, all of it is happening in front of our eyes. The masked people throwing people down the ground, hurting them, locking them up, sending them, disappearing them, all of that is happening. That is us. We are not separate from the human race. And if you can be a part of it without flinching, you know that stabilizing freedom, what you came here to do. So, question for awareness, allow human cruelty to bubble up. Meet it the best you can. And then the next time it's going to be a little easier, the next time a little bit easier. Until you can sit with human cruelty in a way that is compassionate, understanding, but unflinching. It's not necessarily detached because you want to wash it through. You want to be a conduit. And the next question is, what does this expansive sense of freedom mean when I say it's grounded, it's stabilized? That means it's eternal, it's infinite. What does that mean to you? So what's going to bubble up in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, next couple of months is your ability to reframe human cruelty, to meet it, to maybe not turn off the TV, but be with it, with that, what's called the gap. When you're in an emotion, sucks you right in, sucks you into the story, sucks you into the feeling. Human cruelty is especially raw and vulnerable and hurtful. But when you can be with it without experiencing that pull of extreme discomfort, or you can be with it and just allow the tears to flow, unencumbered, you know you've mastered it. And we're all in different forms of mastery. Liberating the goddess, I was going to call mastering goddess. Because we're learning how to be matriarchal all over again. But first, we have to liberate her. Because she's not free to be right now in a patriarchal society. We can't stick our heads up and talk about our metaphysical properties, talk about intuition, talk about, in the scientific culture. We're laughed at. We're told we're demonic by religion, shameful, hurtful, blasphemous. So we've got a long way to go to liberate ourselves. And that is a part of mastery. Beautiful. Angel Jophiel coming in. Drop seeds of grounding. Grounding this sense of freedom is what we came here to be, so we can live it, we can walk it, we can talk it, we can look at human cruelty and say that is not right. What do we need to do to change that? Do we need to gather together? Do we need to write letters? Do we need to go in and care for those who are here hurt and suffering, and offering them comfort, offering them food, gather, whatever. There's a need for us to come together to care for our brothers and sisters, or come together and change the way things are happening. We all have different roles, like spokes of a wheel. This is my gift. This is what I'm sharing. This is what I'm sharing. This is my gift. These groups to help meet these really deep, raw, vulnerable places together and wash them through, so that that part of your life is now softer, gentler, more grace-filled. What a blessing, right? So notice how you meet human cruelty. Memories come up, allow them to bubble up. Sit with them. There's nothing to do. You don't need to throw tools at them. Just allow them to bubble up and see what happens. Beautiful. So the Angel Jophiel dropping seeds of grounding to help the process. Like a tree with deeper roots in the middle of a storm weathers a storm so much more effectively. Angel Jophiel is helping your roots ground. Because I get the sense that human cruelty is going to escalate over the next couple of months. And as it does so, your heart is needed, your wisdom is needed, your compassion is needed. As we gather together and care for the suffering, gather together and join our voices in opposition or resistance. We are the change we need to see in the world. And it doesn't bypass the hard stuff. It leaps in, it says, I am me. I am you. You are me. We are in this together. Beautiful. Thank you, Angel Jophiel. It was like this needed aspects of grounding to really help it. If this session spoke to you, give it a couple of days, let it integrate, listen to it again. Human cruelty is not something that's a one and done. It really depends on how much you're carrying. You'll know if you're triggered by something out there that maybe this will deserve another replay. Or some people just read through the transcript and things just go pop, pop, pop. And you're like, oh, wow, where did that come from? It's amazing how magic works. So in this first session of 2026, we're getting blessings from the New Year's angels, we're getting blessings from the angelic realm, we're getting blessings from the divine mothers, we're getting blessings from the master healers, we're getting blessings from Mother Earth. Thank you, and her elementals. Wow, the animal realm, the bird realm. Thank you, the cosmic realm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They all came together to help this session. I was wondering, because sometimes when things shift, it takes me a while to understand what it is I'm experiencing, because like you, I'm in it real time. I need to be in a group field to understand how the group field has shifted. And now I see that there is more available. All this cosmic presence that wasn't necessarily there as much during last year. Now it's like combined with the master healers, combined with the angels, combined with elementals, with Mother Earth, with the goddesses. They're all joining together like they're encouraging us to join together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We end, like we end every session, with a sacred Sanskrit mantra that means, may we be led from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May there be peace and freedom on earth, and may we be conduits. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityarmam Tramgamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Peace, peace, peace. May this growing, stabilized freedom continue to bring you peace. Bowing my head again in gratitude and love for you showing up today, for you listening to the replay, and for all the divine helpers we received today. Thank you, Angel Jophiel. Thank you. Taking a deep breath, lifting up and out of the space of grace. It is done. It is complete. So it is, so it is, so it is. Till next time, be blessed.